What if I told you that the money in your pocket, your dinars, your euros, your dollars, is about to become worth less than the paper it's printed on? And no, this isn't because of natural economic cycles. This is because Washington has finally found a way to make you pay for their $38 trillion mistake. The plan? It's already in motion, and by the time you finish watching this video, you'll understand why your financial future depends on what I'm about to reveal. My name's Milo, and I don't own gold. I don't own crypto, not in any significant amount anyway. But what I do own is a debt of understanding to you, because what Washington is planning right now affects every single person watching this, whether you've got a bank account full of savings or you're living paycheck to paycheck. You've probably seen the headlines. Trump babbling about tariffs, the dollar strengthening, America becoming the crypto capital of the world. Maybe you scrolled past them thinking it doesn't concern you. I mean, if you don't own Bitcoin, why should you care, right? Wrong. You should care because this is the biggest wealth transfer in human history, and they're not asking your permission. In fact, they're hoping you never figure it out. Let me strip this down to its brutal, honest core. You know how every year your money buys a little less? Bread costs more, rent goes up, your salary stays the same. They tell you it's inflation, a natural process, they say. Supply and demand, market corrections. Bullshit. It's not natural, it's engineered. Here's the simple truth that economists at the top of the pyramid complicate deliberately so you won't ask questions. The United States government owes $38 trillion. That's $38,000,000,000,000. And that number is growing by $1.2 trillion every year just in interest payments alone, more than their entire military or healthcare budget. Their debt-to-GDP ratio is 123%, which in any normal universe means you're functionally bankrupt. But here's the real kicker. This debt is mathematically unpayable. Let me prove it to you in 30 seconds. Let's pretend this $2 bill is the only money in existence. All of it, the entire global supply of dollars. Now I, the Federal Reserve, print this and lend it to you, but I expect you to pay me back plus interest. Let's say $1 in interest. Where do you get that extra dollar? It doesn't exist. The only way you can pay me back is if I print more dollars. But those new dollars, they're debt too, and now you owe interest on them. This is a Ponzi scheme. It's designed to keep you enslaved to a system that was never meant to be solved, only managed. And it worked perfectly for America as long as the dollar was the world's reserve currency, and everyone was too scared of a global collapse to call their bluff. But that fear is gone now, and Washington is terrified. See, something unprecedented happened recently. Usually, when global markets get shaky, investors run to the United States. They buy U.S. treasuries, they hoard dollars. It's called a flight to safety. But for the first time in modern history, the opposite is happening. Mini graphs showing dollar decline, capital outflows. Money is fleeing America, not just moving between investments, fleeing, because investors aren't just scared of market volatility anymore, they're scared of America, scared of that unpayable debt, scared of a system on the verge of collapse, and Washington knows it. So they've come up with a plan so audacious, so arrogantly American that it could only come from a country desperate enough to try anything. They're going to move the entire game to a new board. Now, before I show you their plan, I need to explain what cryptocurrencies actually are, because most people get this wrong, and this is crucial. In 2008, a mysterious figure or group called Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. They watched the financial system collapse, watched banks get bailed out while regular people lost everything, and they thought, what if we could create money without banks, without governments, without central authorities? The idea was revolutionary, a digital currency built on pure mathematics and trust between users. Instead of a central bank verifying transactions, you have a network of computers, digital accountants, all keeping identical, unchangeable public records. This record is called a blockchain. Think of it like a massive digital ledger that everyone can see, but no single person can alter. Every transaction is verified by consensus. There's no Federal Reserve, no president, no prime minister who can just print more because they feel like it. Bitcoin was designed to be deflationary. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. That's it. No inflation, no manipulation. Digital gold. And the technology itself, brilliant. Blockchain is perfect for anything that needs to be transparent but secure: medical records, supply chains, voting systems. But its first and most disruptive application was money free from government control. Washington is now salivating over how to twist it for their own dominance. Here's where it gets diabolical. America can't control Bitcoin itself. It's too decentralized. But they can control the on-ramps and off-ramps. They can regulate the exchanges, the stablecoins, the institutions that touch crypto. And that's exactly what they're doing. In 2025, they passed something called the Genius Act, a law that for the first time regulates stablecoins. Stablecoins are cryptocurrencies pegged to the dollar. They sound safe, right? Stable. But here's the trap. Washington is requiring these stablecoins to be backed by, wait for it, U.S. Treasury bonds. Let me connect the dots for you. If they can shift a significant portion of their $38 trillion into stablecoins, crypto instruments that the whole world would use for digital transactions, then they can do what they did in 1971 when Nixon killed the gold standard. They can hit the reset button, devalue those stablecoins overnight, wipe out their obligations, and transfer the loss to you. The Genius Act isn't just regulation, it's institutionalization. It's Washington building the infrastructure to make crypto a core part of the U.S. financial system. And they announced something else. They're including digital assets in America's strategic reserves. Strategic reserves, like oil, like gold, like weapons. They're treating crypto as a national security asset, but not because they believe in decentralization or financial freedom. No. They're doing it because if they can make the world dependent on dollar-backed stablecoins, then they can export their debt in a way that's never been possible before. Think about it. Instead of selling traditional bonds that everyone knows are worthless, they sell you digital tokens, safe tokens, transparent tokens, tokens that feel modern and trustworthy because they're on a blockchain. And then, when the time comes, and it will come, they'll change the rules, they'll devalue, they'll reorganize, they'll call it a technical adjustment to the debt structure. And your savings, your investments, your country's currency reserves, they'll evaporate while you're still trying to figure out what a blockchain is. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Milo, Trump said America would become the crypto capital of the world. He said we'd pay off the $35 trillion with a little Bitcoin check. Let's do the math because nobody else seems willing to. The entire Bitcoin market is currently worth about $2.3 trillion. All of it. Every single Bitcoin in existence. The entire crypto market? Maybe $3.2 trillion. Now, America's debt is $38 trillion, and they're paying $1.2 trillion a year just in interest. So even if they seized every Bitcoin, every Ethereum, every stablecoin, everything, it wouldn't even cover 2 years of interest payments. Trump wasn't making a promise, he was dangling a distraction. Because while everyone's laughing at the absurdity, the real plan is happening in the background. The Genius Act, the strategic reserves, the stablecoin infrastructure, the rule changes. They're not trying to pay off the debt with crypto. They're trying to hide the debt in crypto. So let's talk about what this actually means for you, for your family, for your country, because this isn't abstract. If America successfully shifts even a fraction of its debt into stablecoins and then devalues them, every fiat currency tied to the dollar, and that's most of them, will hemorrhage value. Your savings accounts? Worth less. Your pension? Worth less. Your bank stability? Questionable at best. Countries that still hold dollars as reserves will watch their nest eggs turn to dust. And regular people, the ones who trusted the system, they'll face inflation that makes today's prices look like a discount. Economic chaos, a loss of living standards that could take decades to recover from. And here's the cruel irony. They'll tell you it's for modernization, for efficiency, for keeping America competitive. They'll wrap it in patriotic language and tech buzzwords while they pick your pocket in broad daylight. But here's the thing. They can only do this if we let them, if we stay asleep, if we keep believing that economics is too complicated for regular people to understand. It's not complicated. It's a confidence game, a shell game, and the only reason it works is because most people don't know they're playing. So what do? First, we spread awareness. Hit that like button, share this video, leave a comment. Not for me, for yourself, for your community. Because the more people who understand this, the harder it becomes for them to operate in the shadows. Second, we diversify. I'm not telling you to go all in on gold or Bitcoin or any single asset. That's what the grifters want. I'm telling you to spread your resources. Some gold, some crypto, some real assets, some cash. Never keep all your eggs in one basket, especially when that basket is controlled by people who've proven they'll burn it down to save themselves. Third, and most importantly, we wake up our financial literacy. We educate ourselves. We ask questions. We stop accepting complex explanations for simple theft. Because an informed population is the only defense against a system designed to exploit the uninformed. This isn't about being anti-American. This isn't about hating crypto or loving gold. This is about recognizing a pattern of behavior that has repeated throughout history. Empires in decline don't fix their problems, they export them. America's debt is unpayable. They know it, the world knows it, and now they're desperate enough to try and flip the entire global financial system on its head to escape the consequences. But if we see it coming, if we prepare, we can emerge from this reset not broken, but stronger, more resilient, financially awake in a world that's been sleepwalking into disaster. The choice isn't whether the system changes, it's whether you change with it, or get left behind. I'm Milo. This is the conversation they don't want us having, but we're having it anyway. See you in the next one. If you found this valuable, consider subscribing, and drop a comment below. What's your take on America's crypto pivot? Let's build a conversation they can't ignore.